Good morning, everybody. We're just having a chuckle here while we're having the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, and I'm still babbling and running around and picking a flower and yes, sorting out a few last chords and making sure that everybody's throats are cleared before we go to this very live this Thursday. Guys, it's great to have you along for the hour. For those of you who are going to be watching this a little bit later, welcome to you. Yeah, we've got a really interesting topic this morning. And guys, some of you might not, you might be thinking, well, this is really doof topic now. Okay. Waterwise gardening. For those of you in the Western Cape, I mean, guys, the water's like coming out the ground. It's bubbling up. Your dams are full, reservoirs are full. We in KwaZulu-Natal have just had our first bit of summer rain, which has just been glorious. Gauteng hasn't had their rain yet. And so should it be top of mind? I think it should become a way of life. It's like when day zero was approaching. Come on, like, do we even remember that? Day zero in the Western Cape. It was the hype. Everybody was talking about it. And I think we all learned certain lessons. We learned not to turn on the tap and, brush your teeth and let the tap run. We all learned that we can put a little basin in our sink and save that water. We all learned various things, and it was quite weird. Although it was happening there in the Western Cape, the influence was so big. It was across South Africa. And I really loved that because it was a momentum, it was a movement, and we almost did it like in solidarity. We with you guys, we with you. And I do hope, and honestly, I really, really do hope that those practices and methods and that we've adopted now, back then, have remained with us. Because it is truly amazing how much we can save. Does it mean we garden less? Oh, please, I'm so over that. It's like, I got no water for my garden. No, it's very dry. Oh, guys, wake up. There are ways that we can garden, and it's called smart gardening. The reality is that climate change is with us. Water's expensive. It's going to get more expensive. So does that mean we cannot have this beauty around us? Absolutely not. It's in our methodology. It's almost, we've just got to step out the box. And some habits, like, what do they say? 90 days to kick a habit, 60 days, with some meds. If we do that, it just becomes ingrained and entrenched. And likewise, exactly with the way we garden, there should be like a standard operating procedure. This is the way we do it. And we don't do it any other way, and we don't take any other shortcuts, because then we can have this. We can. So really today is a bit of deep fact finding, which is gonna be, guys, it's gonna shock your socks off. I'm telling you right now. And we're gonna delve into water zones. We're gonna delve into gardening practices and what at the end of the day is going to make you a successful, water-conscious gardener. And, water-wise, it's like, I don't know. I'd rather be a water warrior. And I'd rather be water-conscious. There are tanks all over this property. We try and catch as much rainwater as possible. When I see water running, or if I see a tank overflowing, I see blue notes. I don't see water running. I see 100 ronds being wasted. And so it has become my mission. I mean, I am OTT, OCD, all of those, like slightly on the edge when it does come to water saving. But more about that a little bit later, guys. Let's see who of you are online. Oh, and by the way, Renata, goeiemôre. Ons in PE ken ook van day zero. Ja, day zero. Is nog in Engels. En spaar ons nog steeds elke druppels water waar ons kan. Ja, julle moet, almal moet, as ons water het, as ons nie water het nie, moet ons bespaar, want dis 'n koste. And that's what's really important. Bongi, good morning. My salvias are covered with powdery mildew. Batman, Bongi, you're watering too much. Yeah! Now I've got to do the cough. Bongi, salvias should not get powdery mildew. And I'm going to tell you to put the handbrake up on that watering, but I will give you a quick solution. Get hold of Fungi Free. It's called Fungi Free. Or you can get hold of Fungi Nex or any rose protector product, and you can spray your salvias and that'll help them. Okay, who else is here? Beatty Swanepoel. All the Eastern Cape still has restrictions. Absolutely. Rachel, good morning from Kempton Park. Good morning. Valerie from Randburg. Good morning. Sharon, good morning. Sibasisu, good morning. Where are you? Where are you? Tian, hello, my darling. Morning, Tian. Hoe gaan dit? Ek's in Bloemfontein hierdie naweek. Kom jy kuier? Oh, he's in the Cape. Well, he can drive or something, you know. George, Builders Warehouse New Market. Ah, that's fantastic. Hey, George, greetings to you. It's due day. Tessa, good morning, Tessa. Tessa, are you a gardener? First time on the live? Yeah, I'd love to hear some questions. Maybe you're killing something. Sure, guys, a lot of you are live this morning and it's great to have you all with us. So, Bloemfontein, I mentioned. Guys, this weekend, I'm leaving tomorrow and I'm going to be at Builders Warehouse Bloemfontein. It is one of the highlights of my year. Man, I could tell stories, but I don't think they're allowed on the show. But Builders Bloemfontein, rock star stuff. I can't wait to be there and I can't wait to see all of you there. So it's at 9:30 for 10 at Builders Warehouse Bloemfontein. I think you've got to call them. You've got to phone them to book a spot, something like that. Okay, so yeah, let's rock and roll it. Let's rock and roll it. Okay, guys, let's talk about being a water warrior and still gardening to what you want, still have your pretties, still have your flowering, still having all those things that every gardener desires. So how do we get that right? Now, the very clever people have worked out a system called zoning. And it might sound quite boring, but just listen up and pay attention. Because if you just keep this in mind, whenever you buy a plant, it really is going to help you. It's a few simple things. So your zones in your garden should be divided into 4. Okay, so there are 4 zones. So we get what we call a high water usage zone, right? And a high water usage zone could be equated to how many millimeters of rain you have in that area a year, or how often you're going to have to water. Okay, so high is obviously, let's think about it. Let's go over here. Mace, come and have a look. Guys, high water usage, 500 to 750 mils a year. That is going to be your pretties, your annuals, like this. I mean, look at this picture in your pot. Look at you, mama. That's dinner plate stuff. God. Oh, that's gorgeous. The smell. Your cracker. So it's your annuals, your impatiens. But now, interesting, this is a sun patience. I have put it into your high water. But the good thing about your sun patience is that you can let this guy like droop, like it can hang, literally be flat on the ground. And you give it a sip of water and it just comes back again. So it really is what we call that instant color, whether it be dianthus, impatiens, whether it be our little pansies, violas, the little nemesias. I mean, look at this little mommy. Oyster. You just want to squash it. Lovely little perennial. and incredibly good in the garden. So when we're talking these, you get the idea now. This is where your pretties are. They're requiring water once a week. Okay, once a week, sometimes twice, depending on heat, obviously. And if you're in the summer rainfall or the winter rainfall. So that's what we call your high zone. And ideally, you want to keep those in pockets. So it's about grouping. So if you've got a big garden, you're going to keep your pretties in one area. So a pocket here, a pocket there, a pot, a pot, a pot. So that when you water, you're only having to water this. So you water here, you water there, and you water your pots. So that doesn't mean that you put the whole irrigation system on. Negative. Mwah, negative. This is watering can stuff, guys. This is watering can or taking the hose pipe and literally watering it. And that is important. So the zoning really is critical. And it's about keeping the plants together that need the same amount of water. I think that's pretty common sense. It makes sense. All right. So now we're going to go to what we call our medium. Now, medium should take up between 20 to 40% of the plants in your garden. Total plants, between 10 and 40%. This is where you're getting between 500, I'd say up to about 500 mils of rain a year. This means in your medium, you're going to need to water every 2 weeks. Okay, every 2 weeks. So now as you're sitting watching, I'm sure that you've got some ideas, like you're busy thinking about the shrub, that plant, oops, maybe I put you next to a high, maybe you 2 highs and a low. Okay, so that's the picture I want you to start conjuring in your mind. So now we've got the medium, which should take up 20 to 40% of the plant material in your garden. And these you're only going to water every 2 weeks. What a bonus. Okay, let's have a look at what the mediums are. So your mediums are a lot of your perennials, guys. And when we talk perennials, we're talking plants that will last for more than one season. So they're not an annual, okay? They are a perennial. They will last 3 to 5 years within your garden. And they still do have color, which is why I've selected these plants, because just because it's got a flower, I don't want you to say, oh, high water usage. No, can't do. It's not about that. So plants that would typically fall into this would be osteos, which are indigenous, osteospermums, okay? And an interesting fact here, let me let a cat amongst the pigeons. Okay, so these are all hybrids. These are hybrids. This is from the Serenity series. This is from the Flower Power series. So these have been bred, okay? They've been bred by taking pollen from one, pollen from other, joining it together, making a new hybrid. They originate from the genetics of the original Osteospermum eclonia, the original plant. The original plant, in my opinion, I can't even say the word. It's scraggly, okay? The original Osteospermum eclonia kind of like is a bit rambled. It looks like a tie-dye t-shirt, needs a good haircut, clip the nails. It's just not very neat and compact, in my opinion. A flower here and a flower there and a flower there, like really, come now, like cry me a river. So they have been hybridized, and now there's this faction of people, and I'm going to call them a faction of people, who say that hybridized plants are, no, you cannot use them in that fancy estate. You know which one that is. I'm not saying any names. Because it is a hybrid. You have to use the original species, which is the tie-dye, long, scraggly, in my opinion, has a place in nature, but not in my back garden, where I want paradise, and I want it to look amazing. Here's the killer. This is the clencher. It has been proven that your hybrids of any plant are more water wise than some of the original species. Boom, boom. Because they have been bred to be water smart, to use less water, to be more compact, to give you more flowers. So these all play a part. So don't come with this nonsense that it's got to be this thing. So when you see these, revel in it, enjoy it, and know that you can plant these. So osteos fall into that category. Your beautiful daisy bush. Mama, and a lot of people don't recognize actually how incredibly water tough and smart this plant is. It can take so much abuse. So this is our watering every 2 weeks. Got it? Okay. Scabiosa. Now this is another one of the hybrids from our original indigenous species of Scabiosa. Wonderful in the garden. Fantastic for attracting butterflies, bees. Great plant. Absolutely amazing plant. Here we've got lavenders. Now, all lavenders are going to fit into that. All lavenders. This lavender is, look at it, it's a golden. It's called Lavender Alardii. Got this lovely yellow edge. So even when it doesn't have flowers, it's still got this beautiful, beautiful foliage. And still as, powerful. Still as powerful with the fragrance, headache material, zen, calming. So your lavenders fall into that. Got it. Right. Leucanthemums. Also, you could call them daisy mays. You could call them daisy queen. Some of you might call them the Michaelmas daisy, but they are a true perennial, deep-rooted. Other plants that would fall into this would be yarrow, would be some basils, and even our beautiful aqualegias. So that's giving you, I hope, a good indication of what we are talking about medium water requirements. So that is your medium zone. Okay, now let's go across to low. Now low is, ideally it should be 30 to 60% of your garden. Okay, so this is about planning, guys. 30 to 60% of your garden should be low. This you are going to water every 3 to 5 weeks. Bonus, eh? Every 3 to 5 weeks. And when we talk of low, those areas within our country are those that are going to receive between a maximum like 400 mils of rain. Okay, makes sense. So you're going to water every 3 to 5 weeks. What plants fall into this category? Well, we've got a group over here which are amazing. Agapanthus, brilliant. And these guys are so tough, they can even go into the next category, which is very low or never, literally. So this is Agapanthus zambezi, sexiest Agapanthus in the world. Yes, okay, I know you might think blackjack is, but in my opinion, this one is. Why? Because when it doesn't have a flower, I've still got this beautiful golden foliage. All right. These fall into it. Okay? Yeah. And some of us have probably got these in a high zone. Yes. This is Angelonia in pinks and whites and bicolors. Here, euphorbias. This is Euphorbia Diamond Frost. Euphorbia, the same as your poinsettia, the red one that we have at Christmas. Tough as nails, guys. Tough as nails. All right. We've got Plectranthus for dry shade, or for sun, or for pots. Brilliant. We've got Coprosmas. And remember, and I'm going to get to this in a second, just pay attention to this foliage. Look how glossy it is. And it's quite waxy. Okay, quite waxy, quite glossy. We're going to talk about this in a minute or two. Okay. Bracteanthus. I'm sorry they're not open yet. But this is a beautiful little perennial. And listen here. Can you hear it? It's the paper flower. This is the paper flower, Bracteanthus. We've got them in the grass garden. Live, no water, only out the sky. Fantastic, brilliant. tough, tough, tough. All right. Little ground covers which can still give you the color that you want. And you'll notice this is the first time we are mentioning a succulent. Because everybody immediately goes, I can only have fet plankies. No, you don't only have fet plankies. There are so many other options. But this is an awesome combination. I mean, come look here, come look here, come look here. If we're going with this beautiful coprosma, and we've got that golden sedum there. Amazing. Lovely, lovely. And you can also buy these in trays. Okay. So now we're going to talk a little bit about how do you... Oh, wait, I've still got to do the last section. So let me do the last section. So let's go back that side and let me deal with the last section on what we are going to be talking about. And this is what we call very low. So now, you're very low, less than 300 mils, never water. Never have to water. And I'm going to show you some of those, which, does that mean we've got to go back here? No, I'm not going to go back there yet. But before I get to that, so those are the plants in your garden that never require any water, whether they're in a garden or they're in pots. If they're in pots, maybe once a month, I would say, and that would be it. Now, how do we know? Besides reading the label of the plant, okay, which some of us fail to do, but here's some quick tips on how you can identify plants that are water warriors, okay, that are good for transpiring, for being tough. Now, have a look at here. This is, okay, this is the little, there's the plant in the pot over there. It's called Kalanchoe, and it's so nice. Kalanchoe tomentosa, and sometimes called bear's paws, but a great little succulent, and it actually has the most amazing flowers. Look at this here. This one's about to come into flower. Interesting, almost like a maroony, coppery flower. But this is the shrub, and you can see it's got the little brown ears on the bits. But this leaf has got little hairs on it. Little hairs. Fine little hairs. Okay? Pay attention to that. Fine little hairs. Some, like this guy over here, have a powder, like a white powder on them. You see that there? Some of them have a white powder, which, put it on your hand, you can actually see it there. So notice these things. You must pay attention to them. So we've got hairs, we've got white powder, we have got grey leaves, okay? We've got grey leaves, and we then have, let's get you out of here, square stems. This is a perennial basil. I'm going to break that off so you can literally see it. It is a square stem. It looks like one of those watermelons that was grown in a shape to make a square watermelon. Ach, nee, shame. Die arme ding. But this is a square-stemmed plant. Basils fall into that category. Okay. Salvias fall into that category. Look here. Salvias, square stem. Not round, square. Okay. Another salvia. Beautiful, beautiful Salvia gregia. Salvia, rockin' fuchsia, baby. It's amazing. I love this plant. Look at all the flowers. Look at all the flowers on the salvia. Okay. And we're coming back again to grey foliage. Grey foliage. So let's summarize. What have I mentioned? Square stems, hairs, grey foliage, powder, and there's one more, which is this guy over here, which is the coprosma, which is waxy like foliage. Okay, and that, all of these things, if they have any of those attributes, are going to tell you that it's a killer water warrior. This plant is not going to need a lot of water. Why? Well, kind of like, you know, the waxy. It stores water. It stores water here in the waxy. Plus, because it's quite shiny, it reflects the sun. It reflects the rays, so it doesn't succumb to water loss that quickly. Hairs, little fine hairs on the leaves reflect the sun's rays and actually cause a bit of shadow on the leaf. Okay, so it's protecting itself. Grey foliage generally always has a fine line of hairs. You might not be able to physically see it, but certainly when you touch it, it feels almost velvety. Also reflects the sun rays. Square stems are part of the salvia family, which are known to be incredibly tough and great water plants, water-wise, water warrior plants. And finally, thick, yummy, juicy foliage, okay, with leaves that hold and store water like this little kalanchoe. They're all telling you that. So that's all you need. Like, you don't even need you don't even need to take crib notes, guys. You're literally going to waltz into your builders and you're going to look. You square, you got grey, you got waxy. Okay, I'm in. Then you know where you're going. You're going to ask the question, where do these go? These are going to go into your medium or your low. I would err to the side of low. All of these. Isn't that brilliant? And notice the color. Notice the color, guys. There ain't no like dull and boring here. This is like pops of color. And it's in a low water zone. Ha! Okay, I'm in like Flynn. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, right, let's put these little guys back. Oh, sorry, big guy. Okay, there we go. All right, now, okay, so we've got the zones. You get that? Okay, understood? Okay, fantastic. Right. Okay, next I want to go to pots. So let's go along here. And I want to talk about pots because these are going to fall into your very low. And remember, we chatted earlier about your high water zone. So once again, you can, if you're short on space, if you're short on time, keep your color in pots because it really does make life a whole lot easier for maintenance. But in showing you that you can also still have pots, and all of these are tough as nails, guys. And this is like your once a month watering, or what comes out the sky. So over here, we've got the beautiful hybrid euphorbia. Interesting, this is the same family as this. Cousins, okay? So this is one of the Thai hybrids. It's your Thai hybrid euphorbia. Same as your poinsettia. And how do we know that? Well, because when we break it, there's a bit of the sap, a bit of yellow, listen to me, a bit of the white sticky sap. This sap can cause slight irritation to the skin, but highly unlikely, guys. Most people get so petrified because they've read terrible stories on Facebook and stuff about this and makes swellings and all that nonsense. Half that stuff you read is absolute nonsense. So, an insane potted specimen. I mean, just look at this guy. And let me tell you, look at this baby. They flower, and I promise you, they have a flower on them every day of the year. Every day of the year, this plant will give you flowers. Whether you in a frost zone, pots, perfect. Keep it in pots, okay? Because then they're not going to get so cold. Right, other plants. Bougainvilleas, top of the pops. Bougainvilleas, low water usage. This is called Donio, one of the original varieties. And Donio, believe it or not, was discovered and bred in South Africa by the grandfather of a good friend of mine. He discovered Donio, bougainvillea. One of the most amazing bougainvilleas, thrive on neglect, thrive in low moisture, and a great plant. Whether it's in a pot, whether it's in the garden, whether you're trimming it as a hedge, there's a winner. And it's got thorns, so hedging, nobody ain't really going to come through that, huh? Yeah. It's a little kalanchoe that we spoke about earlier, which is really lovely, and I do just love the form and the texture. And then here is another kalanchoe, which is in a group of succulents there with the sedum. Kalanchoe pumila is the one with the pink flowers that you're looking at right now. So if you go right into that, you can see their beautiful little pink flowers. And that little guy is the one that has the powder. So also incredibly tough, and really good in hanging baskets as well. Hanging baskets for hot north-facing walls. And then, guys, I mean, can you get better than this? Can you get more gorgeous? A tough, beautiful hybrid agave, which incredibly beautiful, mesmerizing, and fantastic in pots. And not necessarily giving you a flower, but just this beautiful variegated foliage does the job and works. And this shows you, oh, and of course, my gosh, I nearly forgot rosemary, George, in the back there. Rosemary in a pot. Guys, rosemary in the garden is what we would fall under low. Not extreme low, under low. Okay, so that would be water probably once every 3 weeks. Rosemary fits in that perfectly. Neglect. Just pure neglect. So I beg to differ. I honestly beg to differ with anybody that will say to me, I can't have a pretty garden. I can't have color because I'm worried about the water. Absolute nonsense. Okay, so guys, I hope that gives you a nice overview in terms of plants and what falls into what. Right, we're going to move along and we're going to hook it now across to the roof of your house, and we are going to talk about harvesting rainwater. Now, in fact, there should be a legislation, in my opinion. There should be a legislation that says for any house that is built, whether it is a funded, whether it is through a bank loan, whether it is through an RDP, should have gutters and it should have a water tank. We in sub-Saharan Africa, for goodness sake, just look at the atlas. Okay? We should be collecting water because here's the simple fact, guys, that 1 millimeter of rain equals 1 liter that is harvested per square meter of roof space. Let's say that again. 1 millimeter of rain per square meter gives you 1 liter of rain. So it's 1 liter of water that you've harvested. Work out your roof. Work out the square meterage. Okay, you don't have to climb on the roof. You can kind of like just do an average. Work it out. And if, you look on the weather app, doll, it's only 2 mils. It's nothing. Multiply that out by the square meterage of your roof. And all of a sudden, there's a different picture. Funny that, eh? So, collect. We really, really should be. And it has been made so simple, guys. You can like strap that tank to the roof of your car. They're so light. You can go to Builders this morning. You can strap it on the top of your car and you can arrive home and have it installed in time for the rain this afternoon. It is that easy. The pumps literally come with a clip-on thing. You don't even have to screw things into place anymore. The pump comes assembled. You clip it on, you open the valve, you plug the pump in and put your hose pipe and weg's jy. They've made it really easy. So there ain't no excuse. Okay, ain't no excuse. All right, so that is harvesting. And like I said earlier, we harvest, we collect so much water, and it's never enough. It's never enough, guys. Because when you start collecting, you all of a sudden realize how much you can collect. So a couple of things on collecting. Make sure your gutters are not leaking, especially if you've got those gutters, the non-seamless. So if you've got the older non-seamless gutters, make sure that where they've been joined, that there are not drips, that you're not leaking there, and all you need is a bit of silicone to fix that. Also, make sure your gutters stay clean. And it's a silly thing. We look at the gutter and say, I wonder if you're clean. You've got to get up there. You've got to climb up onto the roof with the step ladder. Okay, you also get those gutter guards that you can simply just put over it to stop the leaves collecting in there. But you'll be amazed if you leave the leaves there, they eventually, yes, break down, form soil, and start building up and clogging everything. So important, keep the gutters clean. Very, very important. We're going to get on to something else which is called grey water. Now, we all know about grey water. We know about grey water. We know that we should be collecting it. And is it easy to do? There's a question here. Very good question, Renata. En watter groep sal pelargoniums en geraniums val? Low zone. 10 out of 10. Okay, 10 out of 10. They could also, if you've got them in pots, I would put them into a medium. Okay, I would put them into a medium if they are in pots. And I'm just saying that through personal experience on where I've planted them in the garden. In the garden, definitely fall into low. But in containers, a little bit more. Okay. Right. What was I talking about? Grey water. Right. So, grey water, guys. What is grey water? Grey water is the water that comes from our sink. Not from our sink, beg your pardon. It's the one it doesn't come from. It comes from our washing machine, our showers, or our baths. That is grey water. Most of us open the tap, open the plug, there it goes. Bye. Gone. Fact, up to 70% of our water usage monthly, is used on water that gets flushed away. Scary, isn't it? Scary, scary. If we are recycling our grey water, you can have a saving of up to 30-40% on your municipal water bill. 30 to 40%. So there are a whole lot of things, and a lot of people have got questions on grey water. Can I use it in my garden? Can I use this? Is it going to build up too much phosphates? Is it going to kill this plant? How long should I leave it for? Here's the quick rundown. Here's very quick, very simple. Guys, grey water, don't let it stand. Okay? So if you're going to harvest your grey water, and I'm going to show you very quickly how to harvest your grey water. If you're going to harvest it, don't let it stand. If it is going to stand, you're going to add this stuff in it. Grey water and septic tank treatment. 23 active microbes in there, breaking down long-chain carbohydrates and lipids, which takes away the smell. All right, so it also helps to break down any bacteria or pathogens. So it takes the smell away, and it also helps to break down fats. This, you simply add a couple of mils per 100 liters of water, and away you go, and you treat it. You can treat your septic tanks, standing water, and it is safe for plants, pets, mother-in-laws combined. Right, okay. Let's go back to grey water. So you don't want it to stand for too long. When you irrigate, it's important that you rather do what we call a flooding method rather than a surface irrigation. Why? Well, because sometimes there's fats in that water, and it can have a slight discoloration, and it means that your plants could end up with a bit of a residue. However, and I'm going to say this, however, if you move your irrigation, which is it's just like a small little sprinkler on the end of a hose pipe, if you're going to move that around, and in between you're doing normal watering, you shouldn't have that problem. What about the buildup of phosphates? That's why you use this stuff. Okay, if you use the grey water treatment, the smell away, all right, you will get rid of that. Okay, now, is there any nutrition in that water, that grey water? Interesting, there is. 21 milligrams per litre of nitrogen and phosphates. Not a lot, 0.57 per litre. All of that is plant nutrition. They get taken up by the plant and used. So really quite cool that you can be using that. So we should really be adopting that. But okay, so you're going to ask me, well, Tanya, how do we do this? Because I'm not very clever at this thing. Well, come, let me show you. It really is very, very easy, guys. Let me move Zambezi out the way. Can you see here, Mace? Okay, so let's pretend that this is the house. Here's my house, okay? Here's the chimney, all right? And here is the outlet from my bath. Right. So there we go, outlet to my bath. Normally from here it goes away. What we're going to do is from here we are going to have either a pipe or to wherever you're going to go, and you are going to drop and bury into the ground like one of those big blue drums. Okay, big blue drums. Oh, we've got a blue drum. Yes, bring a blue drum so we can show folks. Or one of those underground water tanks, and you do get them in smaller sizes now because you're not needing 5,000 liters of this, hey guys. This is like small. This is 60 liters, 120 liters, 250 liters, 500 liters. That's what you need to look at. Okay, for this over here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there we go. Look at this. One tank. Okay, guess what I'm going to be doing with this? Okay, and yes, I can climb inside it. But this you're literally going to bury where your outlet is. So here comes your outlet into here. If you really want to be fancy, you can cut a hole here and you can put the pipe straight into there. Okay, got me. Right, come back here. So that's that thing over here. So we've got it going from there into there. In here, you put one of those floating valves. You know those things that you find that you use in the toilet system. So it's got a little floating valve over there. You buy them in the water harvesting section where the JoJo pumps are at your local builders. So you're going to attach that over there. Then over here, you just have a little submersible pump. Now you get some pumps which are so fancy that they've actually got a little float valve on them. So then you don't actually need this thing here. As your water starts filling up, okay, then off this, oh wait, I've made a hash here. So off that, you're then going to have hose pipe, okay, attached to the pump, hose pipe into the garden, little irrigation. Because of this, okay, because of the pump that's got the little valve here or your little valve over there, and it's plugged in, obviously, this operates on its own. It operates on its own. As water comes in, as it fills up, and that's why I do prefer to have this, because then you get to a certain height. If it's shower water, bath water, it has cooled down at that point, and then you can simply use it very safely into the garden. And all you've got to do is move your hose pipe around. That's all you've got to do. And you're then watering. Hey, like, is that easy or what? Anybody can do that. And we've made it really simple, guys. We've made it exceptionally simple. So think about it. And here's the facts. Here are the simple facts that if you are catching water from 2 showers, let's do this. Let's eat 2 5-minute showers a day. 2 5-minute showers a day, you are going to be collecting about 100 liters of water every day. Yeesh, 100 liters of water every day. Isn't that scary? That's frightening. And that could be used in our garden. Okay, let's talk about leaking taps. Leaking taps, 10 drops a minute, and that's very little, hey? That is not a lot. 10 drops per minute. That's a very slow leak, slow puncture, okay? 10 drops a minute. That equates into 600 drops per hour. 600 drips or drops per hour. That's 14,400 drips a day. Multiply that by 30, you get an insane number of over 432,000 drops. Multiply that by 12, you get over 5 million drops or drips. Divide that 5 million back into liters, and you know how much it is? It's 60 liters a day. 60 liters a day. That's through one possible dripping tap. Isn't that scary? Absolutely scary. And that's not even the toilet. You know when you flush the toilet and you hear that, it's still, it's not even that. So guys, pay attention. We really have to, and dripping taps are so easy to fix. Come now. Come, if you go into the Builders YouTube channel, it will show you exactly how to change a washer. It's really simple to fix the dripping tap. Really nice and easy. Okay, so I believe there are some questions. So let's go and have a look here, guys. Let's go and have a look here. Oh, can I use grey water on my veggie garden? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Very important though. Here you only want to do flooding. Okay, you want to do the flooding. You don't want to irrigate on the top because remember I said you've got some residual. It could alter the taste ultimately of your leafy green. So there you want flooding. And the other thing is that you want to move it. So the same principle. So don't use your grey water only in one place. Move it around the garden. And remember, when watering veg or your garden, here are a few tips. You want to water so that the top, at least top 10 to 20 centimeters is wet. That's not that afternoon water, hey? It's a good deep watering. We have a theory in gardening that you want to water less but deeper. Less often but deeper, so that you force the plant's roots to go down. When we water every third day, and it's one of these, psst, 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 your roots stay on the surface. They become lazy because they know if I hang out here, I know on day 3, my favorite gardener is going to come and give me a little bit of water. So they're not forced to dig deep. All right, so don't spoil your plants. Don't spoil them. Toughen them up. Really, you got to toughen them up. So less frequent watering, but deeper watering is important. Okay, so that answers that. When it is so hot, is it bad to water the garden in the evening? Celeste, very interesting question. There are once again many different opinions on this. I'm going to give you my opinion, okay? And you can use it, lose it, bank it. My opinion is water early in the morning before 9 o'clock. Has to be. In the height of summer, before 8. You've got to water early in the morning or late in the afternoon. You can water late in the afternoon. Do avoid watering plants that are susceptible to fungal diseases and powdery mildew in the evenings. So what would that be? Well, roses. Yeah. Roses, don't water those in the evenings. If I'm thinking of my front garden at the moment, pumpkins, any of your squashes, I would water early in the morning. Okay. And interesting, you can even water those in the height of the day, in the heat. Any of your pumpkins, your squashes, you can water them in the heat, blazing heat of the day because it actually kills the powdery mildew. Yeah, it actually works like that. So your leafy plants, and I'm thinking of your cucurbits, anything like that. In terms of ornamentals, there really isn't much. Pelargoniums or geraniums, I would consider that. So the plants that you know in your garden are susceptible to powdery mildew, I would then only water those in the morning. But if by force of life and design that you've got to water in the evenings, I have no problem with that. Okay, so important, so you can do that. Basic gardening principles, guys. We've dealt with the watering now. Basic gardening principles, which are as follows. When you're planting, loads and loads of compost in the planting hole, all right? And when we're talking compost, we're talking this, your beautiful homemade compost that is full of organic content. And interesting, your water, depending on how successful you're going to be as a water warrior for your garden, it all starts with this. It starts with the soil. Feed the soil, fix the soil, and the plants will then react and respond. You know, it's like that theory. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. It's this, it's compost. So remember, to make your own compost and to speed it up, you want to use some of this stuff. Compost activator, okay? Really important, guys. Add this on. It doesn't cost a lot. put this onto your compost heap because you're going to turn your leaves, okay, and your garden bits into this. And tell me this isn't good. It smells good. It's got humic content. It's got organic matter. The more microbial action in the soil, the healthier your soil is with living hohos and nunus, the more drought resistant and stronger it's going to allow your plants to be. You see what I'm saying? Leaves for mulch. Leaves for mulch. Mulch. By goodness, if I have to see any naked areas of soil, I start twitching and I start frothing at the mouth. And it becomes quite an episode. Because we take a plant from a garden center, we go to our builders, we buy this little Angelonia, we take it and we plant it in the garden in a big bed because we're waiting for it to grow, and there is bare naked soil in between. Bare naked soil. In nature, we don't see that. Except in the desert with the welwitschia that only gets watered once every 100 years. So it's really, really, really important that we mulch. This is where we've taken garden bits and we have anything that we've pruned and we put it through the shredder. My favorite best friend is a shredder. We then just throw these into those Garden Master bags, that you buy there at the till point when you're picking up your firelighters. And we put them in there, and then when we need it, we just throw it on top of the soil. And remember, as this breaks down, it's adding more organic content to the garden, to your soil, and then you just put more on. Nice and easy. Okay, right. Finally, check your hose pipes, guys. And this sounds really super doof. And it's like, I really actually shouldn't be telling you this. But are your connectors leaking? They probably are. Replace your connector because it wastes water. Check that there are no leaks in the hose pipe. Has the dog eaten the hose pipe of late? Check for leaks. Likewise, irrigation system, taps, hose pipes. Check. Okay? This is your water saving investment. And by goodness, make sure that you've got a very good watering can. Please, one that actually pours water out and doesn't have leaks. And it sounds so simple. It honestly sounds so simple, but I know that if you have to go and do what I call an audit, a garden inventory audit report on your equipment in your garden, you're gonna come back with not such a lacquer report, okay? And does that mean that we do not get to plant seeds? Absolutely not. Because the seed guys are very, very smart. They have come up with amazing combinations that allow for water smart gardening. Status, absolutely brilliant. Status, tough. Marigolds, beautiful. Absolutely fantastic, whether it's in the veggie garden, in the front garden. Zinnias for summer. Great water plants. It's a bit late for those. Indigenous garden mixes, all great water-wise plants, okay? Gazanias, brilliant, grey leaves, low perennials, cosmos. So come on, guys, they are here. It doesn't mean that you can't garden. It doesn't mean that you can't garden. We just got to change the way we think. All right. Finally, remember that you have options of adding water crystals, whether it be the water-wise crystals or you use the hydrocache. The hydrocache has carbon added. It goes a really long way, guys, and I've shown this to you many, many times. Please just have a look on the Builders YouTube channel on hydrocache water retaining gels, how to use it in your garden, because it really is a game changer in terms of pots, in terms of dry shade areas or just simply dry areas in the garden. Organic fertilizers. Remember, if you're using organic fertilizers, whether it be something like this, which is Talborn Organics 315, or you're using Garden Care 315 Organic, what it means is all-purpose Atlantic. What it means is because it is organic, guys, that you do not have to water it in. Whereas a chemical fertilizer, you have to water it in afterwards. Organic fertilizers, throw and leave the building. Okay, nice and easy. These are all ways that we all can save water. Okay, right. Finally, remember when you pop in to your local builders that you can find these really, really good gardening magazines. Guys, The Gardener Detainee, and when you get your copy of The Gardener this month, you get a free copy of the Open Gardens magazine of South Africa. Over 200 gardens that are open across South Africa that you can go and visit with access, pay a little bit of money, which normally goes to charity, and guys, you can get into some of the best kept secrets and the best kept properties across South Africa and across our beautiful country. And I will tell you that at all of these open gardens, they normally have really good cook and tier, and you'll always find some interesting plants that you can bring back home. So if there's more you want to know about gardening from local South African gurus, gardeners, the plant experts, this is the magazine you need to have. The Gardener or Detainee. Guys, I don't know where the hour's gone, but she or disappeared. Remember, if there's anything you're uncertain of, you can always go back, reverse, rewind, and visit the Builders blog. So that's builders.co.za. Type in what you're looking for, and you can find the article. Also visit their YouTube channel, where there are loads of videos, DIYs, gardening tips, hints, and practices to make you into a better gardener, a better row. Yes, a better row gardener. Guys, it's due day. It's due day for becoming a water warrior, saving water. I challenge you. Come on, let's see how much you can save. Back at you. Anyway, let me know how you come along and share your stories with me, because I'd really love to know how you have saved water and redesigned your garden according to the zones. Till next time, hopefully I'll see you in bloom. Take care of you and yours. It's due day, guys, and happy gardening.